the unthinkable has happened. Ibrahim Traoré, the young hero of Burkina Faso and the AES alliance, just delivered a massive shock to ECOWAS, the West, and the global elites. The Sahel Revolution of 2025 is taking an explosive turn. It's time for the truth. What's happening in the Sahel region is more than just a political movement. It's a full-scale economic independence revolution. And now the stage is set for a major showdown. But before we dive into this historic showdown, let's quickly understand the context and the players involved. This conflict isn't just about land or resources. It's part of a bigger struggle for control over Africa's vast wealth. The African continent is rich in resources, strategic minerals, and fertile land. For decades, external powers have exploited these resources and manipulated African nations for their own gain. The scramble for Africa is real, and this time, Africans are taking a stand. Now, the Sahel region, which includes countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, has been at the forefront of this struggle. These countries are mineral-rich but have faced challenges like poverty, instability, and foreign interference. Enter Ibrahim Traoré, the charismatic leader of Burkina Faso who's been at the center of this movement. He's been championing a new direction for Africa, one that prioritizes self-reliance and independence. Now, this is where things get interesting. After successfully ousting two presidents in neighboring countries, Mali and Guinea, Traore's eyes are now set on dismantling ECOWAS. This organization has long been seen as a tool for neo-colonial control in West Africa. Now, the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, has been a significant player on the African continent. Founded in 1975, its main goal was to promote economic integration and stability among West African nations. However, many see ECOWAS as a tool of neo-colonialism, an extension of European influence in the region. Traore's vision for Africa doesn't align with the goals of ECOWAS. He sees the organization as an obstacle to true African independence and self-sufficiency. So he's taken it upon himself to reform or even dissolve ECOWAS, which brings us to the present day. On July 3, 2024, Ibrahim Traoré took a bold step that sent shockwaves across Africa. He officially dissolved Burkina Faso's membership in ECOWAS, marking a significant escalation in his campaign against neo-colonial structures. This move wasn't made in isolation. It was preceded by growing discontent within other Sahel nations, especially Mali and Niger, who share similar sentiments about ECOWAS and the need for change. Now, in response, ECOWAS has retaliated with threats, issuing an ultimatum to Burkina Faso, demanding the reversal of its decision. But Traoré stands firm, ready to face the consequences of his actions. This confrontation between Traoré and ECOWAS raises fundamental questions about the future of Africa. Is the continent ready to break free from the shackles of neo-colonialism? Will it embrace self-reliance and forge its own path to development? Or will it continue to be a pawn in the global power game? And just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense, Botswana has officially joined the AES alliance led by Ibrahim Traoré, making it the fourth member after Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. This move has taken everyone by surprise. Let us take a closer look at how Botswana's entry into the AES alliance is shaking up the status quo and what it means for the future of the alliance and African politics. At first glance, Botswana's decision to join the AES alliance may seem unexpected. Botswana, known for its relative stability and commitment to democracy, has traditionally taken a different approach to regional politics. However, when you delve deeper into the reasons behind this decision, it starts to make sense. Like many other African nations, Botswana has long been critical of the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, and its role in the region. Botswanan officials have long seen ECOWAS as a tool of neo-colonialism, a way for West African elites and their international partners to maintain control over the region's resources and political landscape. In recent years, this sentiment has only grown stronger, particularly after the military coups in Mali and Burkina Faso. While some in the international community condemned these coups, Botswana took a different stance. It saw them as a necessary pushback against neo-colonial structures and a symptom of the widespread dissatisfaction with ECOWAS. This perspective was a significant shift for Botswana, which had traditionally been a strong advocate for dialogue and diplomacy in resolving conflicts. But the situation changed. The desire for true independence and self-reliance became too compelling to ignore. The tipping point came when ECOWAS imposed sanctions on Burkina Faso following its decision to leave the organization. These sanctions, which included border closures and trade restrictions, were seen as a way to punish Burkina Faso for challenging the status quo and a clear example of how ECOWAS was abusing its power. Botswana, along with several other African countries, condemned the sanctions, seeing them as a violation of Burkina Faso's sovereignty and a dangerous precedent for the region. In a surprising turn of events, Botswana's President Duma Boko has just revealed why his country decided to join the AES Confederation led by Ibrahim Traoré. During a recent interview, President Masisi openly expressed his dissatisfaction with both ECOWAS and the African Union, two organizations that were supposed to serve the interests of African countries, but have instead become tools of neocolonialism. President Boko started by criticizing ECOWAS. According to him, ECOWAS has failed to address the root causes of instability and conflict in West Africa. Instead, he argues that ECOWAS has focused on imposing sanctions and military interventions as a means to maintain control, a sentiment that resonates with many Africans who have long criticized ECOWAS for its heavy-handed approach to regional issues. He then shifted his focus to the African Union. Despite being the highest representative body of African countries, the AU has also been seen as ineffective in dealing with conflicts and promoting true African unity. President Masisi pointed out that the AU has allowed itself to be co-opted by external interests, hindering its ability to act in the best interest of the continent. This dissatisfaction with ECOWAS and the African Union has pushed Botswana towards the AES Confederation. President Boko sees this alliance as a more promising platform for addressing Africa's challenges and pursuing true independence. It offers a new space for dialogue, cooperation, and most importantly, action. The AES Confederation, unlike traditional organizations, is focused on concrete solutions, not symbolic gestures. It's a beacon of hope for many Africans who are tired of empty promises and want to see real progress towards independence and self-reliance. With Botswana on board, the AES Confederation is becoming a formidable force in African politics. Together with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, these four nations represent a significant portion of the continent, both in terms of population and resources. This growing alliance is sending a clear message to the old guard, a message that echoes the aspirations of millions of Africans who yearn for a better future. So why is Botswana's decision to join the AES Confederation a game changer? Simply put, it represents a paradigm shift in African politics. It shows that African countries are no longer willing to be pawns in the global power game. They want to chart their own course, define their own destiny. Botswana's move is a clarion call to other African nations, a call to join the movement for true independence and self-reliance. However, this decision has not come without significant challenges. Botswana has always prided itself on its commitment to democracy and good governance. Its leaders have often been praised for their commitment to the rule of law and human rights. Joining the AES Confederation, which includes countries that have experienced military coups, may be seen as a setback to these democratic values. That's right. We all remember the historic Sahel summit held in the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, which marked a pivotal moment in the ongoing Sahel Revolution. On May 2024, hundreds of people from various backgrounds gathered together to discuss the future of the Sahel region. Among them were influential figures from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and even Nigeria. One of the key highlights of the summit was the presence of Umaro Sissoko Embalo, the president of Guinea-Bissau Conakry, who played a crucial role in brokering peace between the military junta and the Guinean people. His participation demonstrated the growing solidarity among African nations in their pursuit of independence and self-reliance. During the summit, there was a resounding call for the departure of all non-African troops from the region. This sentiment reflected the shared desire for sovereignty and freedom from external interference. Specifically, they demanded the withdrawal of French and American troops who have been involved in counterinsurgency operations. Their presence has been a contentious issue as many locals view it as an infringement on their sovereignty and a hindrance to lasting peace. Furthermore, the summit served as a platform to denounce the exploitative practices of the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank. These institutions have long been criticized for imposing harsh conditions on African countries, often exacerbating their economic woes rather than alleviating them. The leaders at the summit called for reform within these global financial bodies or the creation of alternative systems that prioritize African interests. But perhaps the most significant outcome of the summit was the unified front against ECOWAS. The Economic Community of West African States has been seen as a tool of neo-colonialism, maintaining control in the region through economic sanctions and military intervention. The countries represented at the summit agreed to work towards reforming ECOWAS or even dissolving it, depending on its willingness to adapt to the changing needs and aspirations of its member states. In essence, the Sahel Summit was a defining moment for the region, a clear indication that the days of passive acceptance are over. African countries are taking a stand, demanding respect, equality, and a genuine partnership on the global stage. Despite all the tension and opposition, the Sahel Revolution of 2025 led by Ibrahim Traoré is gaining momentum. Here's why. The revolution is rooted in the desire for true independence and self-reliance. It's about breaking free from the shackles of neo-colonialism and taking control of their own destinies. This sentiment resonates deeply with the majority of Africans who have long suffered under the weight of external interference and exploitation. The revolution is driven by a new generation of African leaders who are unafraid to challenge the status quo. These leaders, like Ibrahim Traoré, are not only charismatic and visionary, but also deeply connected to their people. They understand the challenges and aspirations of their communities and are committed to serving their interests. The revolution is fueled by the growing sense of Pan-Africanism, a renewed commitment to unity and solidarity among African countries. Through organizations like the AES Confederation, African nations are coming together to pool their resources, share best practices, and support each other in the pursuit of independence. The revolution is finding support from various segments of society, including civil society organizations, religious leaders, and ordinary citizens. People from all walks of life are coming together to demand change and hold their leaders accountable. And here's the most important point. The revolution is unstoppable because it's not just about overthrowing existing structures. It's about building a new future for Africa, a future based on independence, self-reliance, and true democracy. The vision is a united, prosperous, and secure Africa that plays an active role in shaping the global order. Despite the threats and challenges, the Sahel Revolution of 2025 is marching forward. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit of the African people and their determination to create a better future for themselves. It's a reminder that the struggle for independence and self-reliance is not just a historical event, but an ongoing process that requires constant vigilance and action. As the revolution continues, it's essential to stay informed and engaged. Support the movement, hold your leaders accountable, and be part of the solution. The future of Africa is in your hands. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please consider supporting us to stay updated on important African news. Your support helps us continue our work.
African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.